back at the Breaking Boundaries podcast. That's right. We named our podcast. We are finally official. We're making the logos. We're coming in today with our guest, Johnny Martinez.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. This is an honor and a pleasure. This is fun. I love talking about wealth and masterminding and all that. So
yeah, leveling up.
Let's do it.
So I have Austin here with me today as well, Austin Spitz.
How's it going, everybody? Happy to be here as usual.
Yeah. So we named our podcast. We wanted to tell you guys about it. It's called the Breaking Boundaries Podcast. And the reason we did that is because this group, this mastermind, everything that we've created is all about leveling up, breaking narratives, changing your legacy, and doing that through connections, collaboration, and community. And that's a big piece for us with the monthly meetup that we have every second Tuesday of the month. Right now we're meeting at Lone Star Lounge in Creekside, and we meet from 6 to 7:30. We have mastermind group with people like Johnny and Austin and I, and different community members in New Braunfels and surrounding areas. It's free. It's an hour and a half. You get some drinks, you get some food, you have opportunities for sponsorship for the food and the meeting that day, and we get to talk about cool stuff, like you said, building wealth in lots of different ways, not just financially, and we get to meet really cool people who want to have higher level conversations like you. Thank you for tuning in and watching. So let's get started.
Sure. So we'll just start off with Johnny here, if you want to. Give our listeners an intro of kind of what you do and what your business is.
So, like I said, thanks for having me on the show. This is an honor and pleasure, not only talking about wealth, but talking about resources and leveling up and things like that, just helping people. So, Austin, thanks for the intro. So what I do is I'm like a Swiss Army knife. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of things that I do, but my premise is just helping people to build confidence, build motivation, build inspiration to be able to accomplish things like maybe buying a home, being on a podcast, getting some content creation so they can help build their business, getting out there, just connecting people. So I like to give advice on how to network and things like that, but my ultimate goal is just helping people to level up, man. And so there's so many ways to level up, and I can write an entire book on how to do it. Mm-hmm. But just helping people helps me build wealth internally with significance. And my significance, when I get a phone call or a text from somebody saying, hey, Johnny, thanks for the advice. Thanks for helping me connect. Thanks for connecting me with Lindsey or Austin at these wealth masterminds. That, to me, is being rich.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. I've kind of found that same kind of concept in having wealth and in building wealth throughout the years. I feel like there was a point in my wealth, right, on the outside looking in, that I had all of the things. I had a big house, a nice house. We had a new vehicle. I had never had a brand new vehicle ever before in my whole life. And then
what was it?
A Tahoe.
Tahoe. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Right hot off the press. Man, it was pretty. We had the golf cart and the pool and the timeshare and the 8 rental properties and all of these things that on paper are very wealthy, right? Or extremely wealthy from my upbringing. I grew up with my mom living on child support and minimum wage. I mean, it's the same old story, right? We ate macaroni and cheese and ham for dinner most days. But that's true. Like, that's really how we grew up. And so I didn't have things like savings accounts and 401ks and
life insurance and all these different
stocks
things.
And bonds.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? And I didn't grow up in that lifestyle or have anyone to teach me all of those things. And so from a former teacher who was making $50,000 a year with a master's degree, going from that to then being able to step into these different forums, these different platforms of ways to build wealth and these different streams of income, is what I should say. Yeah, it felt really wealthy, but it also felt very empty because it lacked significance, it lacked purpose, it lacked connection. It really lacked a lot of connection, and it just felt more like a checklist. And that's one of the things I think that I love about our group and our wealth building mastermind is that there's been lots of conversations revolving around different types of wealth, but then also the different like struggles and hurdles that people have had to finding wealth at some point. because it just looks different for everybody.
I think when people struggle, like as a child, they don't really know they're struggling, but as they grow and progress as an adult, they see like, man, I understand that I was struggling, and it makes me a little hungrier to get out there and not only do for myself, but to help others get out of that situation. We grew up on food stamps and welfare and poverty, but we didn't know any better. My parents really didn't know any better. That's just a fact of life. You got to get out there and work, hustle, grind to produce food, to produce groceries, all these different things. And they just did it. Their work ethic and their mindset helped me grow as an adult, because I look back and I'm like, man, my mom always provided, my dad always provided, and it helps me be more disciplined and organized when it comes to making decisions. I don't just throw money away now. I make sure that I am investing it properly. And sometimes I throw it away. Sometimes, let's just be honest.
What's your indulgence? What does Johnny like? The most?
Sometimes I like cocktails. and getting out there and going to the movies and doing all these things. It's not really a waste because it's an investment with my wife and my family.
Yeah, it's
but I can do without the extra Jack and Coke and these kind of things, and I don't drink enough to say I have a drinking problem.
Yeah.
But there's some things that I could save thousands of dollars a year on.
We'll check in with Jessica about that later.
Yeah. But yeah, so it made me more humble and more disciplined in my progression as a person trying to build wealth and generational wealth. That I look back and I'm like, man, I just wasn't given all this stuff. I had to create it. You know how people say you made men? I had to create a brand. I had to create all these different things that I have today. And being a military member set me off in a structure that I never even knew existed. So we can talk about that later on as well.
Well, I was going to ask, at what point, so you talk about the progression of your childhood and same thing. I didn't really know any different. I had what we needed. I had a roof over my head. I went to school every day. We always went back to school shopping at the beginning of the year, and we had what we needed. Yeah. We didn't have anything really else. But you're right. You live in that lifestyle, and you just don't really realize that there's anything else out there. And growing up, we didn't have social media and access to all of the things like my kids have. Every day, my 10-year-old's coming home with hey, Mom, can we get this? Hey, Mom, can I have this? Hey, Mom, can we go here? Because he has access to the entire world in the palm of his hand.
TikTok
and
shop.
So, yes, Temu.
That's dangerous.
God, it's so much. And so they are living in this lifestyle where they're feeling like lack.
Yeah.
They don't have enough. They see all the things that are out there that they don't have, and they want to have those things. And there's just this constant need for satisfaction in attaining these other items. And so
how do you combat something like that? Because I don't have kids, so when you explain this problem, I clearly see it as a problem, and like how social media portrays the world in a certain way that you only see the highlights of what people are doing. So then when your kids are watching this growing up, this kid did this and this kid did that, and I don't have this and that. How do you combat that as an adult? Like, not trying to go down to parenting, but just like...
I could say I put a little, chore list on the refrigerator, and each chore is another $1, and he gets to earn it. And the honest answer is I just say no. Yeah. So I just say no.
you do have to earn it. It is tough being a parent today. When my mom and dad told me to do something, I just did it. I didn't have something on TikTok telling me, oh, but I have more money, I have more jewels or whatever like it is today. It's kind of a competition today with kids. When kids look at these other kids on TikTok that go to their same school or another school, they try to compete with that. And then who has to front the bill? The parents.
Correct.
But what I say is, girls, you have to be able to work for this. These guys, it's either fake or they were given this stuff, but hard work, these things that you have takes hard work and discipline, and it's a stair step. And they compete with these people that have Rolls Royces and Maseratis and all these things. I'm like, we can't compete with that.
Why does my 5-year-old know what a Lamborghini is?
Yes.
Already.
Yeah. And they're looking at these Kardashians and all these people on there, and I'm like, girls, that's a fantasy land. And I had this conversation in the car yesterday. They were like, well, Kylie or whoever one of the Jenners, she goes, my daughter said she's one of the self-made billionaires in the world. And I said, BS. Her name is Kardashian. She already has that on her side. I said, people like us with Martinez, we're not getting anything handed to us. Yeah. Now, I have to work for everything I have. I can't just wake up and have a podcast like Peyton Manning or Travis Kelce. I'm not connected to NFL or the NBA or any of these things. I have to work hard at it. I got to build relationships. I have to do all these extra steps. Those guys on TV don't have to. So you got to understand that. So that's kind of how I combat it a little bit.
Yeah.
So you've basically done a lot of content creation. So talk about like how content creation has kind of helped you build a personal brand and the importance of really just building a personal brand.
So social media to me is king, and not everybody uses it. Not everybody has to use it. I'll never say you have to use social media, but I say it often enough where you have to create content if you want to remain relevant, no matter what industry you're in.
Because people forget about you.
Out of
If they
sight,
don't
out
see
of
you
mind.
every day, they're going to forget about you.
So if you're not out there on TikTok or Instagram or showing what you do, people are going to definitely forget about you. And so you have to get out there and break bread with the community. You have to get your dog on social. You got to do something that makes you stand out. And it kind of sucks because, like I talked about it with my kids, you're kind of competing in a way, but you have to make sure people see you. If not, they'll forget about you. And we've been blessed to be able to create content on our podcast and with Social Plug Media and things like that, where we can connect with people and also help them build a brand. But our brand is this. What you're seeing is my brand, my face, the way I speak, the way I dress, the way I treat people, the way I smile, the way I frown, all that, my mood, that's all my brand. And if I don't bring my A game every day, my passion and my commitment to serving others, then my brand's watered down.
Yeah.
I go from a Lamborghini to a Kia. It's like that. And then my brand is pretty much done. So you got to keep an A game constantly.
Yeah, so if we can expand on that, like I would love to hear your take and your input on. I think that what you're talking about is translatable to all of our viewers, no matter if you're a real estate agent or an insurance agent or Blue Door Retreats, right? Like short-term rentals. It doesn't matter which company you're with or who you're representing. Your brand is still, it's important to have that out there all the time. One of the things that I think that I struggle with the most as a real estate agent that I've realized over the years of being in real estate, and actually thanks Andrew for making me look back through all of my Facebook posts yesterday and seeing how far my brand has come in the last 8 to 9 years. That's the part that I think that I've struggled with the most, is that I don't have a shoe or a cup or a bouquet of flowers that I'm advertising to be my product. I am my product. And there are plenty of times and plenty of days through maternity leave, through opening 2 businesses in the course of the last 60 days, through COVID, through just divorce, through all of these things where I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like being my brand today. I don't want to be the product anymore. I am tired of being vulnerable and putting myself out there and being consistent and doing all the things. What do you feel like helps? Because you are very consistent. What do you think has helped you maintain that, find that consistency and maintain it?
Every day I wake up like I'm on a mission.
Yeah.
Every single day. And I got that instilled when I was in the military.
Okay.
Every day you got to produce because people are watching you. And not only on social media, this is my family's watching me. They're expecting me to perform at a high level. And when I say perform at a high level, put groceries on the table, pay the car note, pay the mortgage, pay everything. So I have to produce, and I can't let anybody down. And that's just something that's instilled in me. And I learned that from my dad. He always told me, son, you got to make sure you get out there because nobody gives a crap if you're sick. Nobody gives a crap if you're having a bad day. You got to get out there and show face and make sure that you get shit done. And if you're not getting shit done, then people are going to know about it. And your name is everything, your credibility. So once Johnny Martinez stops producing for his clients or for his family or his friends, then I start getting watered down. So it is tough. But every day before I go to bed, I'm always looking at my schedule. What do I got tomorrow? And I'm going to bring it. Every day I try to bring it more than the previous day.
Right.
And sometimes it's exhausting. So sometimes I need to take some days off. But I have enough content in my phone. I have hundreds of videos. And in case it's raining and I don't get out one day, I'll magically have a video or a photo. And so my wife and I are constantly building memories with my kids as well, taking photos. Because one thing I said recently on another podcast, how many times have we had somebody pass away and we don't have any videos of them, any audio, any photos? So when it's all said and done, I want to make sure my kids at my eulogy can be playing on the back, on the projector screen, my videos and say, Johnny or my dad, he brought it every single day. And look at this video. This is the production piece that he's doing for everybody. And it's not just for me. I do it for everybody to remember me, because we're building a legacy, whether we know it or not, on this podcast. Everything we're saying today is trying to accomplish the goal of helping people. But at the same time, we are building a legacy of credibility, of trust, of faith, of confidence, all these different things. So that's another reason why I love building content.
That's such a trippy concept when you think about it. Like, as you go down later in life, like you said, at funerals, it's not something that you ever see, but like now it's like everything can be documented. So whenever, I pass away, for example, that's the time when you can see all the stuff that I've built and created in video form, which is crazy that we live in.
And you live on.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still living.
Your legacy, exactly. It's building a legacy and it's living forever. But what I want to pivot to is like, talk about like one or two of the main disciplines that must get done every day. With your military background, I'm sure I know you're very disciplined. So what's like one or two non-negotiables? Like, I have to do these two things or I can't execute.
I have a checklist that I accomplish every day, and everything on that checklist must get done in prioritization order. I have at least 3 to 4 things a day, and it's non-negotiable. I got to make sure, because I run several businesses. I not only have Social Plug Media, but I'm in real estate, and I have a photo booth business, and I also have dad stuff that I need to accomplish, husband stuff. So I need to make sure I take care of all those, and those usually find themselves at the top of the list, the husband stuff, right? But I gotta take care of that, and if not, I'm there. I can't just sit down and, let's go watch a movie now, knowing that I have 2 or 3 tasks left to do. I got to accomplish everything before I can let my hair down for the rest of the day. And so that's a non-negotiable. You said 2 things. A list might have several things, but that is something I have to accomplish. And I like to accomplish, if I can accomplish something today that I need to get done tomorrow, then I'll do that. But I don't rest until everything is done. And I take a lot of pride in my word, and I'm very disciplined in that. The military did teach me to accomplish goals and checklists and things like that. It's very organized. And that's one thing I miss about the military. Very organized. We knew exactly what was going to happen if we accomplished the mission, and then we celebrate afterwards. But it was something bigger than myself. That's what I loved about the military as well. It's something that was worldwide. Everything that we did was usually worldwide stuff.
Right. Well, it connected you. It connected you worldwide, right? Like it made your world that much bigger. I've lived in New Braunfels since 2007, but have been in the Short Cibolo area since I was 4. So my scope of where I look for things is generally in a 10 to 15 mile radius. And I know that there's a world out there, but I haven't traveled very often. I told you we grew up relatively poor. Our vacations were to Port Aransas once a year.
Same.
Like that was the extent of it. So it's only been very recently that I've traveled, but I would say that overall, when we travel, it is literally for just hanging out, pleasure, right? So we're sitting on the beach, and a beach is a beach is a beach almost, right? In the Caribbean at least. So I haven't been out to see the harder parts of the world and the struggles that people are experiencing in other cultures and things like that. And so for me, trying to think big and imagine big and dream big is difficult sometimes. It's hard for me to think that what we're doing today could span out and reach out, like you were talking about earlier with Pace Morby, to think that like these other entities in the world would connect or be attracted to something that we're doing is a little bit crazy. But I love what you were saying about like the military. You miss that about the military. I've seen and experienced that a lot with retired veterans or people that are coming out of the military, is that when you're in it, it was suffocating and annoying and frustrating, and you just felt like you couldn't make your own decisions or go out in life. And I've seen a lot of veterans get out of the military and then start their own businesses and go into entrepreneurship, probably because they want to swing the pendulum so far the other way. I was told how to dress, where to go, where to be, when to move, what to do, sometimes for 20 years plus. Yeah. And now you're out and you're like, I'm going to do anything I want. I'm going to do anything and everything. And oh my God, this is a lot, right? Yeah. Like, and so talk to me about like how that transition was coming out of the more structured discipline part. Because the only thing I can personally empathize or equate it to is when I did 75 hard.
That's pretty tough. That's an accomplishment
really
itself.
Disciplined phase of life, but it was only for 75 days. Definitely wasn't for 20 years. But just coming out of that discipline from 75 hard back into just normal life has been. I definitely see the differences in my production.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for 20 years, and let's put this into perspective. 20 years ago, I was just getting started as a drill instructor in the Air Force, military training instructor. So my job and my goal was to take high school kids, college kids in their 20s, teens, 20s, and mold them into a military mind in basic training with discipline, with commitment, with sacrifice. I have to teach them all these things in basic training in 6.5 weeks. I got to turn them from whatever they are now into an Air Force leader.
Unlearn 20 years of behavior in 6 weeks.
So there was marching involved, a lot of physical training, a lot of mental stuff, a lot of discipline, organization, all these things. And so that also taught me some things too as a leader. I led hundreds of people, thousands of people, and a lot of different teams. So I did that for 4 years. Then I went into Air Force recruiting for 16 years. So I was running my own business, making decisions, building a brand, building relationships, networking, negotiating, selling, doing all these things that I do today in real estate. So for 16 years, I led, I followed, I did all these things, and I taught sales, marketing, and negotiation. So I'm in love with sales, marketing, and negotiation. That's why I do content creation today. So I had a storefront as a recruiter, and I did that for 4 years. So I changed a lot of people's lives when they, changed them from high school kid into an Air Force member. And then I was a district manager up in St. Louis in Illinois. So you talked about looking at different cultures. There was East St. Louis. There was all these different cultures involved. So I had to relate to those people and when they were in school. And they were looking at me as a Hispanic guy, and they were African American. But I had to go in there and I had to be a chameleon. And I had to be their advocate to say, hey, I'm here to change your life. I'm here to get you out of a bad situation and make your entire family tree changed, right? I'm here to build success, wealth, prosperity, all these things. And I had to convince them of this. Or not really convince them, influence them.
Right.
And then I came back to San Antonio. I worked at Randolph for about 3 years. And then I went out to New Jersey. Whole nother dynamic. There's a big melting pot out there. We had Jewish people. We had Saudi Arabia. We had everything in St. Louis, in New Jersey and in New York.
Right.
Everything was out there. So I had to be another chameleon and get out there and relate to these people.
Right.
And they were looking at me like, who the hell are you? But I had to be on my A game and be able to make sure that I influenced them. And so along the way, I had to deal with a lot of the airmen that I had under me. I had to deal with their production, and I had to teach them how to go out there and sell in these different markets and things like that. Because some of these people, they had no idea how to sell. They had no idea how to brand themselves. They had no idea how to build relationships. So that's why I'm kind of a trainer today when I tell people, hey, let me help you. I can help you sell houses. I can help you get on behind camera. I can help you do all these things because I trained for so long. I mean, for the past 20 years. And so to answer your question further, all that decision making and all these networking and all these different things helped mold me into who I am today as a real estate agent, as a mentor, as a father, a husband, everything. It's 100%. If I don't give my 100%, I fail internally. So I have that on my mind constantly. Like I have to produce. And it's just something that I struggle with every day. My wife says, chill out. But I can't because I have too many people depending on me every single day. And some say, hey, you're high strung. That's just who I am. That's just the way I talk. I'm not yelling. I'm not getting overexcited. That's just the way I talk every single day. So what you see is
It's just
what you get. That's just my energy. Because I want to, if I'm talking to somebody, especially new, I want to be able to instill my motivation into them. Say, shake their hand and look at them in the eye and make sure that they know that they can confide in me or whatever for their business deal or their life deal, friendship. So I learned a lot in the military, so much, and I owe everything to the Air Force. Happy birthday, Air Force. Today's 77 years.
Happy birthday, Air Force.
Yep. So the greatest Air Force the world has ever known. So, but hopefully I answered your question. I kind of went off on a tangent.
No, that's totally fine.
But yeah, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just wanted to talk about one thing. So you're a serial entrepreneur. You own multiple businesses, so you have a lot going on all the time. Have you had mentors along the way? And if you have, how have they impacted your success and potentially created shortcuts to get to where you're trying to go?
Mentorship is so important. So yes, I have had mentors along the way throughout my Air Force career. And even now, I reach out to some people and say, hey, what do you think about this? My wife is my mentor. And mentorship it's not only somebody who's above you. It could be somebody parallel with you or somebody under you. J-Rock, our producer, sometimes I ask him for his opinion on things. And although I'm a serial entrepreneur, he's our producer. I don't look at him as, oh, you're just a producer. No, bullcrap. Everybody has value. So mentorship is not only a two-way street, but it goes up and it comes down. And everybody, if they've gone through some kind of experience or has some kind of value to provide, I seek that out. And you can't go in a room thinking that you're the all-knowing and you know everything. Bullshit. You don't. There's other people that know way more than you about certain subjects or certain parameters of life experiences. So I seek those out sometimes too. Hey, how did you overcome this? How did you become wealthy? How do you build your relationship with people? Why is you and your wife's relationship so strong? Those kind of things. So that's mentorship when you're asking these questions, when you're seeking out advice from somebody.
Yeah, so I'm in another mastermind group, and basically we're a property management mastermind group, and this girl joined it, and she doesn't manage any property. She just wants to get into it. So I kind of had a mindset like, well, maybe we'll see. They're taking the step. They're trying to get, I'm going to provide as much value as I possibly can. We get on a call, and then she's the one presenting at the next call. I'm like, why is she presenting? So she built a brand on TikTok that had like 300,000 followers. It's insane. I don't know what her stats were, but she's up there. She gets paid. I don't know if I should be sharing her business, but she said like she sold a garden hose, and just the garden hose made her like $2,000 for the month.
It's
for
crazy.
The 1 month, just linking a garden hose.
Yeah.
Like she has built the brand and the following, and it's just funny to me because you talk about mentorship. It's like, okay, she's gonna be coming to me asking me all these questions, and I'm happy to help. That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was like, no, I made a page full of notes on all the shit that she's doing because I'm trying to build a personal brand.
She's gonna mentor you.
Exactly. And then I was like, okay, I thought I was gonna be providing the value here. Like I'm gonna be taking the value, but as soon as she wants to know like how to build a property management company, boom, I'm gonna give it all to her.
That's called a trade.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's just two people providing exchange of value for that. So to speak on mentorship, I just think like, and at the end of the day, I think she had a call with me for like 30 minutes and like was going through it. She's like, you need to do this, you need to change this. The timing of your posts are inconsistent. That's why you're not getting this. That's why you had a spike here and a bunch of views, and all your views down here don't have it. And she was like giving me all these notes, and I'm just like, So,
spot on.
Yeah. No, and I think that mentorship is also useful in different spaces in different ways. In the season of life that you're in, or the area of focus that you have. I mean, right now, I've been doing social media for obviously a very long time, and have gone through all of the different phases of social media through Facebook and figuring out Instagram when that first became popular, and doing Apple Movie and doing all my editing in Apple Movie. And so as social media is expanding and growing our reach and growing our connectedness with people, yes, like I am back into the learning phase of social media yet again.
It's a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Opus Clips and YouTube Shorts and
CapCut.
Spotify and CapCut and all these things. And it's just like, wow, it can be extremely exhausting if you don't have somebody who's walked it before and who's done it before. You could easily get like we were talking about, get lost in it for 5 to 6 hours a day, you know, just trying to figure out how to pose.
It's just another hat in your business. You have sales, you have marketing, you have accounting, you have, you know, the management of your business. Now, in today's world, you've got building an online brand. So it just comes to like what we talked about last week, where it's just like, make the money and put the people in place to do this. Because like I said, I spent 5 or 6 hours doing it the other day, but just not at the point where I'm going to hire, or maybe I am, I just haven't figured it out. It's also new. So anyways, yeah, it's just another hat you have to wear in your business.
Right. So, I mean, I love that. So we are pretty much out of time, but I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. You are insightful and courageous and inspiring and influential, and we love having you. Johnny
Likewise.
is also part of our mastermind group. He came out to one of our very first events.
Yes, very insightful. I loved it. Just the exchanging of ideas and just hearing people's stories, and people are pretty cool. And the people you had at your mastermind were on another level.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
Well, and that's what I love too. Is I've been to lots of networking groups. I'm also the president of a networking group. And each group has its own dynamic, its own focus, its own ability to connect people in different ways. But I will tell you that I am by nature an introverted extrovert. And I will get behind a mic and get behind a camera and do all the things because people are way over there, not here. And so it's way easier for me to not have to like be in front of people and interact. And so much like a lot of other people, networking groups normally stress me out, right? Give me a lot of anxiety. I get anxiety about being there. I will make plans to go and then find every reason not to. And I want to encourage people out there that are watching this that it's not that type of group, right? We have higher level conversations like Austin's talked about before, being very intentional about the groups of people that you're spending time around, the conversations that you're having. I know you and I have talked about this, I think, at a Christmas party one time. So it's having intentional conversations that level up your ability to achieve the things that you're wanting to in life. It's not even just goals. It's just being the type of person that you want to be. It's having the right mindset that you want to have. And I discovered more than ever after going through the divorce last year that it is crucial to surround yourself with people who are going in the same direction as you. They may not be going the same way, right, as far as like the path to get there. But it's crucial to be around people that are having higher level conversations, and it not just be something that you watch on your phone. It's not just me tuning in and listening to Andy Frisella because I need a good like swift kick in the ass that morning. It's actually going and sitting around people that are having the same
just like you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Andy Frisella screaming at me in the morning. Sometimes it does get me.
I'll do the extra squat.
I don't want to do this shit today. Andy pops up and I'm like, all right, let's get this day started.
Andy says do it, I got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your insight. That was awesome.
Yeah, I love it. So just a quick reminder, we meet every second Tuesday of the month at Lone Star Lounge in Creekside. We have opportunities for you to sit here with us on the podcast. We do 2 podcasts a month. The first podcast of the month introduces the topic that we're going to be talking about at the mastermind. So be sure to tune in. Join you already are on our Facebook group if you're watching this page, but invite some friends to our Facebook group as well. And be a member on our next podcast next month.
Absolutely.
It's not scary at all.
No.
On Spotify now too.
Oh, that's right. We're also on Spotify and YouTube and all of the other forums that I just don't know about yet because I'm still learning. Mentor.
Well, thank you guys for making an impact in the lives of others. It's
Thank
so
you.
important that you guys do that.
Yeah.
And just be deliberate and finding out new perspectives. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. Good talk. And that's a wrap.